It was a Conrad Motorsport front row with Zino Falca starting alongside Danny Sufi, but the German racer would be rather inhaled by Philipp Lindberg and Geronimo Gomez. It would be Lindberg in second place early on. Gomez trying to find a way past for Team Virage as well, but third place would be the position early doors for Zino Falca, and Philipp Lindberg would set about making his car exceedingly wide. Quentin Joseph found himself getting overtaken by John Brownson for fifth place further back in the order. But that was all a little bit too close at times, almost, between Philipp Lindberg and Zino Falca, getting very, very close indeed as Danny Sufi drove away. Some lap traffic to contend with for Lindberg, but he managed that very nicely as he continued to try desperately to keep the Conrad Motorsport Ligier at bay, but it was never more than a second behind the high-class racing machine. It was Ligier on Ligier action, and coming out of turn 14, a great run from Zino Falca with about 20 minutes of the race completed, handed third, in fact second position to him. Zino Falca with a wink and a peace sign, and then unfortunately a stall as he came out of the pit lane. While that was going on, Matthias Bjerre-Jacobsen was getting a little bit in the way on his outlap for Philipp Lindberg. Lindberg was a little bit frustrated, I think, at the wheel, but Bjerre-Jacobsen soon strode away. That was the stall for Zino Falca, and then coming out of the pits, he also made a bit of a faux pas crossing the pit line. Not the best pit stop, unfortunately, for Zino, but it was, I believe, his first ever pit stop in racing conditions. And he was doing some camera work as well, so it's understandable. Danny Sufi made his way back out onto the circuit with a comfortable lead. Meanwhile, Lawrence Hur came back out in second place. John Brownson put in a very, very good stint indeed to work himself and Lawrence Hur up into that second place with the pit stop handicap helping them out. Philipp Lindberg got overtaken by Nogales, who took over the Team Virage car, and then it was David Drew's turn around the outside of the number 20 machine. A good effort there from the high-class racing driver to try and hold his ground. A little bit of a mistake coming out of turn 12, trying to pursue David Drew, but he would recover from that nicely. Matthias Bjerre-Jacobsen was working his way towards a sixth place finish for he and Wolfgang Peyer. Meanwhile, Zino Falca was under pressure from David Drew. He was under pressure from David Nogales as well. And it was at one point 3 wide. Lap traffic getting in the way of Zino Falca, and that allowed Nogales and David Drew to strike in a sequence that was very unfortunate for the 11 car. It was a sequence that would end not just here at turn 4 with David Drew outbraking the number 11, but then a drive-through penalty for good measure, unfortunately. Around the outside of the number 20 went Matthias Bjerre-Jacobsen as he continued to press on in the racing experience car. David Drew found his way into third place there around the outside of Nogales, but Danny Sufi crossed the line, well clear of the field. A classic Danny Sufi win in the Prototype Winter Series. Second position going the way of Lawrence Hur along with John Brownson. Third place for David Drew and Quentin Joseph for CLX Motorsport. Nogales along with Gomez finishing fourth. Zino Falca fifth despite the penalty. Matthias Bjerre-Jacobsen takes sixth. Philipp Lindberg taking P7 out there on the circuit, and Jürgen Schäfer rounding out the order in our first Prototype Winter Series race of the weekend. We have crowned a new champion, and we can now hand out some trophies with Andrew Mather.